After the massive events of last week's episode, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier just raised the bar once more and gave us its best episode thus far. A spoiler warning is in order for the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 called Truth. Let's talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sam and Bucky return to the States to try and decide what best to do from now on as John Walker faces the consequences of his actions and Carly Morgenthau gathers her troops for her biggest blow yet. And before I crack on with this review, I want to know what you think of the Falcon and Winter Soldier thus far. What did you think of last week's episode? This is my review of last week's episode in case you haven't checked it out. And again, spoilers, massive spoilers for this review. And while you're down there, let me know all your thoughts. Consider clicking the subscribe button if you haven't yet. If you're new to the channel, it helps me, it supports the channel, and supports all the videos I do. Movie reviews, trailer reactions, anime reviews, all that sorts of great geeky stuff. This is not only our first officially hour-long episode at 61 minutes, but the opening scene alone is sensational. We get an amazing fight scene with Bucky and Sam versus John Walker, very reminiscent of the fight with Steve Rogers and Bucky versus Iron Man, for them to get that shield back, for John Walker to come to terms with the consequences of his actions. But the serum has made him more of what he is. He has become entitled, he has become not able to live up to that legacy, and with the pressure on his shoulders, and he's gotten a little bit mad. In fact, John Walker kind of kicks their ass for a little bit. He incapacitates Bucky to a point. He kind of electrocutes his arm, but Bucky and Sam finally find their chemistry and work together to take him out, and they take the shield home, with Bucky at one point looking at the shield and being so frustrated with the image of that shield being tainted with blood. He kind of wipes it off a little bit. This scene is not only a great fight scene, it's shot beautifully, it's shot brutally, viscerally, but it also has a lot of subtext to it. It's these two guys, our heroes, trying to fight for the legacy of that shield to not be tainted anymore. Finally coming to a standstill with this guy who's just clearly not the person to be Captain America. And I really love that only when they tune into each other and work together and not as just two people fighting one person and as a team, they are finally successful. But Sam gets disheartened because his wings were broken off. John Walker just ripped out his wings, and so Sam feels kind of lost. He cannot be the Falcon anymore, but he doesn't want to take on this burden of being Captain America, especially since what just happened with John Walker. Could that happen to Sam? And I really love that this episode explores that. This episode gives us a lot of personal, intimate time with our characters, not necessarily their superhero personas. And you know what? Kudos to the Falcon and Winter Soldier United States government, who did strip John Walker of his position. He's no longer Captain America. The only reason why they're not ordering a court-martial is because of his service before last week to the country. I did not expect whatsoever for them to do that. I expected the government to be like, no, yes, this is our Captain America. He's really good. What he did was justified. I'm so surprised, so happy, but we see that frustration, that angst building inside John Walker, who I still stand my ground. He started the show as a good person, and what he's becoming is an excellent villain. And the way we explore John Walker in this episode, by becoming this maddening person, going out for revenge and trying to kill his friend, and now just entitling himself Captain America like he deserves this position. He's earned this position. There's no one else to have this position. It reminds me a lot of Homelander in The Boys as they analyze that psychopathic side of him, and I think John Walker is walking slowly but surely towards that. Now, the scene that happens after John Walker has his mandate, Julia Louis-Dreyfus pops up. Did not expect it, would never guess that that was the cameo, and I think she's the power broker. because she encourages John Walker to continue pursuing this path that he's pursuing. She encourages him to go back and get the shield. It doesn't belong to the government, you know, and she encourages him to keep doing what he is doing. I think because she is the power broker. She knows he is killing the Flag Smashers who wronged the power broker. And I think this is all coming together. She also gives this name that I'm forgetting what it is. But before I realized or it clicked in my head that she could possibly be the power broker, I also thought, is this Madam Hydra? Are we getting Madam Hydra in the MCU? I think we are, but maybe she's both. Maybe she's the power broker and the power broker is also Madam Hydra, which I'm happy with. And this scene not only introduces us to a brand new character, that surprise cameo, maybe Madam Hydra, maybe the power broker, maybe they're both this person, but it also pushes John Walker forth down that descent into madness and villainy. And we have a scene where he goes to apologize to Battlestar's family, Lamar. He's angry. He's really angry, and he still believes he killed the guy who killed his friend, and his intentions are good. His intentions, I think, are for the best. It's just that this dude couldn't live up to that. He couldn't live up to that pressure, to that legacy. He's too much John Walker to be Captain America. So he goes down the street, he sees a poster of himself as Captain America when they were promoting him to reveal him in the big opening ceremony in his old high school. And I think this pushes him forward. If he can't be Captain America, he's going to become the US agent. And the quote-unquote transformation of John Walker is then cemented in a post-credit scene where we see him making a shield of his own. The colors are inverted. It's the blue and then the white. He puts the star he acquired from his time in the army on there on the side. So this is the coming of the US agent, and a great mid-credit scene that I think could have just been inserted into the episode. The bulk of the episode then takes us back to Sam's home and hometown. He's trying to fix the boat, and Bucky, who really, poor guy, has no place to go, he goes there and helps Sam, and I think it's really cool for us to see them working together, not as superheroes, but as people, and they work really well together. We have this really cool montage. At one point, Bucky introduces himself to Sam's sister, and they are clearly flirting, and the show always makes a point to film Sam whenever Bucky and Sarah are talking. At one point, Sam even brings it up, don't flirt with my sister or I'll cut you up and feed you to the fish. And then eventually they flirt quickly again. And as Bucky comes to help Sam, he leaves this big briefcase there. He doesn't open it, but it's setting up clearly something that we'll talk about at the last shot of this episode. We also get a little bit of a training session with Bucky and Sam. They're throwing the shield around slowly to one another, and they're talking about like what they've been feeling thus far, what they have been going through, and what went into their decision making. And Bucky explains to Sam he didn't have anything after Steve was gone. The shield kind of represented everything and everyone he knew and held dear to his heart, while Sam, who goes to talk to Isaiah Bradley earlier in this episode and gets a little bit more of a sense of how Isaiah Bradley sees things. This man sacrificed a shit ton for his country. He saved people, and the serum worked on him. Instead of being happy that the serum worked and using this man to serve their country, they experimented on him. They tortured him. They hid him away. They considered him dead. They scrapped him from the record books. And Sam is afraid that that could happen to him. Sam doesn't feel like he should represent a country that clearly has not represented him and his people. It's an excellent scene filled with depth between Anthony Mackie and Carl Lumbly. I just cannot make it justice. Nobody who's reviewing this episode right now can make it justice. So if you're watching this and you're being spoiled, just go watch, even if just that scene alone. And so I really love this heart-to-heart. I'm always a fan in shows and television and movies whenever characters just finally fucking talk and let their problems be out there and expose them to one another so the other person can understand. So I really love the scene. And Sam incites Bucky to go and actually make amends. He was not making amends. He was making vengeances, or he was avenging. He was not amending. And so I think this sets up an extremely heartbreaking scene that is going to be Bucky apologizing to Yori and telling the truth about what happens to his son. I think Yori is going to be devastated, but I cannot wait to get to that scene. Now, another scene that happens is Sharon Carter. Out of nowhere, we see her calling and talking to Batroc the Leaper. Which, again, at one moment I thought, oh wait, she's the power broker, but she's helping the Flag Smashers, as we will see in a moment. So I don't think she's a power broker, so I'm very confused as to what is happening with Shannon. Maybe she is a Flag Smasher. Maybe she believes in their cause, in the one world, one people. But I don't feel she's a power broker. She would not be helping them if she was the power broker, unless the whole thing we see so far in this episode is a trap. One thing that I forgot to mention thus far, this is before Bucky and Sam go back to the States. Bucky finds Zemo in Sokovia in front of this statue that is meant as a memory, an homage, a tribute to the people who lost their lives, just saying Sokovia. And Bucky confronts Zemo about going to kill him, but he's not that person anymore. He's saying goodbye to the Winter Soldier once more, even to the man who used him, abused him, controlled him to hurt his friends and kill the King of Wakanda, which, speaking of, Bucky, after showing Zemo that he's not that person anymore, and no hard feelings apparently between one another, the Dora Milaje come in, Ayo and two others, and they take him away. And Zemo tells Bucky, I don't blame you, I'm sorry, and no hard feelings between one another. They didn't kill Zemo. I think Zemo will come back yet again in the MCU, so here's my fingers crossed, because I love Zemo, I love Daniel Brühl. So before heading into those final two scenes of this week's episode, we have a superhero training montage, which is always fucking awesome. It has been so long since we have a superhero training montage, and I love it. We have Sam, who does not have a superhero soldier serum, training with a shield, having difficulties doing his cardio, throwing the shield around, having trouble catching it, but eventually, progressively, slowly but surely, he gets better and better and better and comes to a point where he feels ready to fight with the shield. There's this quick conversation he has with the sister that Isaiah Bradley does have a point, but what will be the point of his sacrifice if I don't do anything, if I don't change things? I love this. I fucking love Sam in this episode. I love the character progression. I love the subtext. I love the depth. It's all kinds of sensational, and again, I cannot do justice to just how well done this episode is. So in the final few moments of this episode, we have Carly and her close group who are now in New York. They meet up with Batroc the Leaper, and he gives them something. I honestly did not understand what that was. Maybe bombs, maybe mines, some kind of tech and weapons for them to go to the GRC Council and not allow them to make the vote. GRC Council meeting in New York, and she shows Batroc the Leaper, who wants to kill Falcon, and that's why he agreed to this job from Sharon Carter. And Carly shows Batroc that she's got people everywhere and they're ready to strike, so he head into the GRC meeting for the vote, and the two of the security guards, at least there, are part of the Flag Smashers, and so they take the power down. Everything starts to go out, people start to panic, and that's when we cut to Sam Wilson opening the briefcase that Bucky gave to him. Clearly the intent was for us not to see anything, and I think we're getting the Falcon Captain America costume from the comics, which is awesome. I love that they didn't show it to us. I love that we're here now waiting for the season finale next week, and it's going to be freaking amazing if last week's episode and this week's episode are anything to go by. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5 has everything going for it. It's called Truth, and the episode itself lives up to that name. Everyone is finally letting their truths come out, their true self come out. I love the subtext throughout this episode. I love the depth of character. I love the development of the story. I love the rising stakes. I love the weird twisty things we're seeing. Batroc teaming up with the Flag Smashers, and he accepted this job to team up with the Flag Smashers from Sharon Carter. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is she Madam Hydra? Is she the power broker? Is she both? Are they one and the same? I freaking adore this. This has been the show I was waiting for. This second half so far of Falcon and Winter Soldier has been so much better than the first half, which was good, which I liked, but this is the excellent show I was waiting for. The performances, the writing, the action, the drama, the score by Henry Jackman. Holy fucking shit. Henry Jackman is a fucking master composer, bringing back his most emotional and subtle cues from Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War, inserting them into the show, giving them new meaning, new motifs throughout this show. I freaking adore it. So that's my review and thoughts on the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5. By far the best episode of the show thus far. Maybe my favorite episode out of both this and WandaVision, to be honest. But throwing it over to you, I want to know what you think. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you like last week's episode more or not? How do you rank the episodes thus far? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far but still haven't clicked the subscribe button, you watched the video, you liked it, consider subscribing. If you don't like the next one, you can unsubscribe. It's all fine and dandy. Thank you so much once again. You are the best. Stay tuned for my review of Shaman King episode 3 coming later today, and my review of episode 6 of Invincible is already up. Thank you so much once more for the third time. I say thank you a lot because it means the world to me if you watch the video. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.